Active.
Okay, Peggy has an activity for us to build our unity.
So you might
Teamwork.
remember from section 7, there was a rather lengthy quote. Actually, I think it's several different quotes all in one compilation. And so I chose the words from the quote as it's asked to do the images from the quote.
What page was it on?
It's on page 15. And so I'm going to give you each a chance to pick a card. And then you can talk about the word that you picked, and it may be more than one word. It's a word or a phrase that you picked. And you can either choose to talk about that particular word or phrase, or you can choose to attach a virtue to it and talk about that. Okay. So you can talk about your experience with that in your life. You can talk about how it would affect a community if everyone understood that and put it into, well, just one.
Wait, this is war? I choose this is war for the slide.
That's your word, yeah. And then you can either use that word or you can choose a virtue. You can do either way.
I need to
How does this word mean? Swift. Quick. Okay, thank you. The rays. Quick sunshine. Rays. Luminous.
Solar rays.
The luminous. The
Okay.
ray.
So,
So these series of quotes.
Right.
On here. Oh,
So that's where those words came from. So I can start. The one that I got is serried lines. And my experience with that was back in like 2010, I was serving at Indiana Baha'i School, and there was a quote about the army of God that we were supposed to memorize. And I think it's so interesting that I got that one today. And so I started thinking about what is an army of God and how do you depict that in a tangible way? How could I do a photograph that would go with that? And my dear friend Andy Qualls came with me to a place where it was a rather sacred place where there had been a war, and it involved Tecumseh and I can't remember the other military person, and they won. The Americans won over the natives, and so it was a tragedy for that whole native population. And we wanted to talk about what would have happened if everyone had known the principles of Baha'i. How would that have been resolved differently? So we decided to create this photo, and I thought about what's an army of God? It has to be an army of light. And so I created this with Andy's help. We set up one large candle and then a lot of little tea light candles in serried lines, and took that photo and then superimposed the words on top of it. And it's one of my favorite things I've ever done. And I just think when we march in serried lines as an army of God, we're bringing that light to the world. That's what we're meant to do.
well, I have everlasting glory. Everlasting glory, and it's interesting because glory is a virtue, and one of the names of God. So I didn't have to choose a virtue to talk about. But when I hear glory, I always think of light. So So an everlasting light, an everlasting glory is, to me, what comes to mind is what we were discussing in our last book one, and we were on the section about life after death, and how really our time that our soul is associated with our body on this earth is very short. And it's like a twinkling of an eye, really, when we think about it. But in that time, we have to fill the soul with the light, the virtues that we need to develop in this world. And so really and then that soul in this world can develop that everlasting light, because that's what comes from the virtues. So that's what came to my mind. With those comments.
Mine is a quotation from this part that says that become compassionate, to become the cool and pure water to every thirsty one. Sympathetic and compassionate, the cool and pure water to every thirsty one.
So yours was cool and pure water?
Cool and pure water. And to me, the symbolic of a water in our writings of Baha'u'llah, even in the writings of Christ, is basically knowledge. And to be cool, in other words, being very calm, very loving, very compassionate, share the knowledge of God in its pure form to everyone we see. And so that's how I understand. Yeah.
Thank
We have single united force. I couldn't find it there. My mental processes aren't too good today. But what has been mentioned already made me think of a single united force of light is a laser beam, concentrated energy, which can do all kinds of work.
Yes, heal. Yeah.
So it can be destructive too.
Yeah.
All right. Hands. But that's all to further my brain.
That's cool.
I have another comment about the pure I forgot to mention, and it is in the Tablet Ahmad where Baha'u'llah says to be a flame of fire to my enemies and river of light in the eternals to my loved ones. Again, this is referring to the water as a source. The knowledge of God is a source of life to the friends, to share that. And of course, the fire is really not the real fire, but the love. In other words, you can win the enemies through love and nourish the friends through knowledge.
I have a heavenly table, and it appears in a sentence that contains the virtue of benevolence. And benevolence is a virtue that you are always, without any exception, preferring the best for somebody else, regardless of what happens. In Christianity, I believe that the essential teaching of Christ was the introduction to Western man about the benevolence of God, versus the Old Testament Hebrews was more of a vengeful God. So it represented really a new paradigm shift in religion. And in terms of benevolence, if God is benevolent toward his creation, we as individuals have to be benevolent to other people. And when we do, heavenly table. You come to a table hungry, expecting needs met regardless. Benevolence is the fact that you're offering food. It could be physical, it could be spiritual. But with the intention of the best wishes for that recipient, regardless of what he has done.
Mine is a swift healing antidote. I was thinking that a swift healing antidote is love, because love is a combination of a lot of all the attributes are embedded in love, I think. And for a person or human being that needs a swift healing antidote, love is the way.
Even for your enemy.
Even,
Right.
yeah, it's not easy.
Those are white.
Waves,
Wave of one sea.
waves of one sea.
Well, I think is the serenity in the life. When the problems come, we must have serenity in the life. The waves on one sea is slow, is frequently, is calm. I think we must have serenity to the sea.
Calmly work together.
Yeah.
Mine is lights. This is, give me the lights of the sun of reality be your illumination. I kind of see this as two things, as like strength. I kind of feel the word learning comes to mind, and with light comes the warmth. Without the light, I'm trying to focus here, and you have everything there's an opposite. There's without the light and with what it brings, there's no love, there's no unity, and then you have darkness, and I see chaos, and with it says with Baha'i, it encompasses you, and I feel the peace and with what they're trying to say in this sentence, in this paragraph.
I think you said it all. Without light, there's darkness.
Right,
And that's true.
Shad, as an electrician, what happens when you turn the lights? Brings happiness,
Right.
right?
As an electrician, you go in with, flashlights, org lights. I love it though because you go in there's no heat, there's no light, and then everybody's just waiting for it. When it happens, you
Because
just feel good. You feel good.
Depressed when they're sitting in dark and
Right.
cold.
Well, you have all trades. Hey, we need extra power. We need lights.
Imagine no electricity in Phoenix.
Well, I was in India, and in India, it's the opposite of the way it is here. Here, we expect electricity. We take it for granted. And when it goes out, we're shocked. There's no electricity. In India, there is no electricity, and then all of a sudden there is for a brief amount of time. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, we have electricity. It's very interesting.
Wow.
So the mind is race,
Right.
race. To say, merged together as the rays of the tiny effulgent light. This is made me thinking in the community, in the world in unity, made me thinking in one vision, all coming from God. This is light, make the right, coming for the self-transformation and give place in your heart, God, place. And I think in that.
Great.
I can say that. In English is difficult.
So my word was bright stars, and that brings to mind guidance to me. So God, Baha'u'llah, is the sun, right? And the star is just tiny beside the sun, but we all have a duty to sort of shine with the same light, a little piece of it, and to help guide people. And I've also heard just this week several other faith traditions using the same sort of terminology. So I like the idea that there are lots of people trying to be bright stars and that we can kind of inspire each other, share the light.
I love the image of stars because I see those of us who are really on a path towards the love of God and trying to share that path with others. You think of a night sky and it's almost all dark, but there's these little twinkles, and it's hope, right? And I love that each one of us can twinkle a little bit and give hope to humanity. It's really nice. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want your little cards back?
I don't know, for where we live, we have a little difficulty with that. We, police coming and cheating.
Isaac and I were working yesterday. His mom calls up and says, "Oh, somebody's shooting over at Tiger Bakery," and all the police come.
At Tigers, there
You
was
know
a
where
shooting?
You were here.
Over there by Tiger's Bakery.
Wow.
Well, it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
3?
Huh.
Maybe 3 o'clock. I was talking with nice one.
Okay, so did we get through section 8?
Those people who were here need to answer.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's where we were at.
We
I
did.
think,
Attention in class.
I remember.
I think so. I think we're on section 9.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
This was really good. This.
Who would like to start reading?
I'll do it. Section 9, page 19. That Baha'i consultation is a means for us to tap into the tremendous power of unity and its various dimensions is clear from our discussion in the previous section. At the same time, we know well that unity does not mature without effort. A consultative body as a whole and every individual member thereof share a responsibility of constantly strengthening their unity. In discharging this responsibility, we acknowledge that our temperaments vary, as do our styles of expression and life experience. Quite naturally, we each hold a particular understanding of the issue under consideration, one which may differ from our partners in consultation. We are also aware that there are tendencies in all of us that have to be overcome as we learn to consult and act together in harmony. Some exercises will enable us to consider this matter further. To begin, look at the 3 situations below. In all 3, you are asked to imagine you are a member of a consultative body and to reflect on only one aspect of the challenge of building and sustaining unity. That is, how you yourself can respond to some undesired tendencies that interferes with the proper investigation of reality, or what qualities you can develop further to help you contribute to the efficacy of the consultative process. A.
Suppose that you serve on a committee along with 4 others. One of the members seems to find it difficult to allow consultation to reach fruition in his decision. By temperament, he tends to want to keep on exploring different options, even though the others think the necessary clarity has been reached. After some months, you notice yourself demanding quick decisions with growing impatience out of your mounting frustration. Each time this happens, you end up feeling upset with yourself after the meeting because you realize your own impatience is not helping the situation. Clearly then, you turn to the writings to look for guidance that would assist you in overcoming your frustration and in contributing effectively in improving the committee's consultations. Look for some relevant quotations and write one or two of them in the space provided below.
So if we go back to page 11, you can see that the first duty is, the first condition is absolute love and harmony. So we can remind ourselves about that. That obviously isn't met if we're having those feelings, right? So since we didn't do this ahead of time, and did you have another quote?
I have a couple of quotes.
Yeah.
Going back to Book 1, should any differences arise amongst you, behold me standing before your face, and overlook the faults of one another for my name's sake, and as a token of your love for my manifest and resplendent cause.
And that was in Ruhi Book 1, if any differences arise amongst you, if you remember that from way back then. Does anyone have any other quotes that maybe come to mind or that they've written down already?
Let your heart burn with loving kindness for all who cross your path.
The prayer, oh my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal to them thy great purpose, always comes to my mind when I know that I need to focus on unity.
And experience tells me, sometimes when we're at a gathering and there may be some tensions between a couple of people, when we start with those kinds of prayers, it settles everybody. And then there's much more effort to really find unity. So I think starting with those kinds of prayers really is significant.
Okay.
In the second section, it says that he tends to want to keep on exploring different options, even though the others think the necessary clarity has been reached. In modern organizations, there's something called analysis paralysis.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good word to write down here. Analysis paralysis.
And if the duty is to come up with resolution,
Oh, thank you.
you heard that, damn it, haven't you? And if one of the duties of consultation is to achieve some sort of a resolution on a challenge, if that's the priority, how do you deal with individuals that want to explore, continue to explore?
Patience. If they have something that they're going to say, they're utmost, they're going to voice an opinion. Most people are pretty much in agreement, but I'd say there still might be something that could be said with, and listening with patience that may change things a little bit.
And I think right along with that is understanding when you can ask questions like, what troubles you the most? What concerns you? And that person feels listened to, and then you address those concerns, then it's easier to come to a decision.
Yeah, that's good.
As a member of a committee, you find some contributions to its consultations to be based on wishful thinking. Small accomplishments appear to be blown out of proportion, and challenges seem to be overlooked. As a result, important lessons, you think, are not learned. In your longing for the consultation to be more realistic, you see yourself becoming increasingly critical, going so far on some occasions as to place undue emphasis on the negative. How can you contribute to consultation in a way that is measured and realistic, and at the same time imbued with hope and enthusiasm? Well, I think that goes right back to what we were just saying about listening, and if we listen deeply to one another, then it's easier to come to agreement. I wrote in my book, begin with a task sandwich, suggest helpful tools such as charting, setting SMART goals, brainstorming, baby steps, and revisit the topic at a later time if necessary.
And also you can ask the prerequisites of consultations. That prerequisites of consultation is the purity of motive and radiance of spirit, and detached from all save God. Here we have a case that you are getting off the track.
I'm sorry, we skipped you. Do you want to do C?
Oh, well, okay. As a member of the committee saving your cluster, you're invited to attend a meeting at which various institutions and agencies will be presented. Among the topics discussed are the importance of channeling energies and maintaining focus, the centrality of capacity building to the work in the cluster, and the need to learn to identify and respond to receptivity in population. One point raised by an auxiliary board member makes an especially deep impression on you. She reminds all those present that whether through appointment or by election, service on the consultative body does not constitute an endorsement of one's opinion or a call to promote a particular agenda. Imagine how difficult it would be to attain unity of thought, she says, if individual members of the body approached service in this way. What we need to remember is that we are investigating reality and learning together. Keen never to fall into this trap. You decide to look for some quotations in the writings that will help you avoid forming a rigid personal conceptions of how growth in the cluster where you reside should occur. What do you find? Again, going back to the purity of motive, and you explore the all the options and find the facts without having a preconceived notion. You have to kind of cleanse yourself first before getting into this state of consultation. That's where the power of prayer allows us to do that. We rely on God to help us.
So I think that is asking for specific quotes. And I wrote, "Oh God, my God, look not upon my hopes and my doings, nay, rather look upon thy will that hath encompassed the heavens and the earth. By thy most great name, O thou Lord of all nations, I have desired only what thou didst desire, and love only what thou dost love." That's from the Law of Obligatory Prayer. And the second quote I wrote is, "My first counsel is this: possess a pure, kindly, and radiant heart, that thine may be a sovereignty ancient, imperishable, and everlasting."
Is this number C?
Yes.
Yes.
Number C, also you could just go to the top of the page on the previous page, 19, and that quote on the top of the page. And and I have to remind myself what part of the quotation. Souls who will consign their own selves to oblivion.
When any soul is strove to be true believers, they maintain a spiritual relationship with one another and show forth dependence which is not of this world. They will, all of them, become elated from a draught of divine love.
And the paragraph down there says souls that is, who will consign their own selves to oblivion and strip from themselves the defects of humankind, unchain themselves from human bondage, will beyond any doubt be illumined with the heavenly splendors of oneness, and will all attain unto real union in the world that dieth not. And then there's the hidden word. My first counsel is this: possess a pure, kindly, and radiant soul.
Even the second hidden word is that thou shalt find the truth by yourself.
By your own eyes and not through the eyes of others.
Neighbor.
Son of justice. Is it my turn to read? Now let us consider a few tendencies to which we are all somewhat prone at different times that could limit a consultative body's ability to attain unity of thought. In this connection, as indicated above, all members of the consultative body are responsible for the well-being of the institution or agency on which they serve, and all need to contribute to the attainment of higher and higher degrees of unity. This means that they have to strive to address undesirable propensities in the manner of their own participation, while the body as a whole, through frank and loving consultation, ensures that individual shortcomings do not impede the ability to reach sound and united decisions. Think about the following patterns of conduct, and for each set, decide which one would be conducive to the attainment of unity of thought within a consultative body. In almost all cases, the answer is obvious, but looking at the alternatives in each set should lead to valuable insights. Set 1. To fall into a pattern of talking excessively, giving views and opinions on every matter without taking into account the contributions of others. To remain silent during consultation when in disagreement with the direction it is taking, only to express one's views when a decision is about to be finalized. Or to express one's views with candor, courtesy, and detachment, moving with the flow of consultation, modifying and refining one's opinions in the light of the consensus that is gradually being built. So, which one is conducive to unity?
The last one.
The last one. Okay. Any insights people want to share from any of the others? Okay, set 2. To be prone to emotional outbursts during meetings, or to be accepting of the ways different people express themselves and to seek to understand their intended meaning, or to be dismissive of convictions expressed with a measure of passion, as if sincere sentiment were incompatible with rationality. Which one?
Second.
2. Yeah, number 2. Okay, set 3. To show aversion to the quantitative analysis of situations, trends, and progress, to allow oneself to be attached to numbers, to the exclusion of profound qualitative analysis, or to seek to integrate qualitative and quantitative analysis in a way that leads to clarity of vision and the foundation of realistic plans and lines of action. Which one?
We'll go with C.
We'll go with the last one. Okay. Oh, there's a whole page. Peggy, go ahead. A whole nother page.
Okay. To help identify the principles relevant to substantive issues being discussed in a consultation. Sorry, I can't see. To select a principle because it seems to support one's own opinion and then draw attention to it. To crowd consultation with so many details that analysis of the issues at hand and the relevant principles becomes impossible. So I think this goes back to what John was saying about, what did you call it?
Analysis
Paralysis. You know, that we need to determine how much we have to analyze things and be realistic.
So
So number one.
And it's really, I think it's human nature to go looking for principles that support our opinion,
Mercedes,
which
lights are on.
You left your lights on?
Who's that, me?
Mercedes?
Well, I probably did.
Well, yeah, too. When the one did it.
Now you'll need a jump.
I'm sure an electrician, you can do it, right?
Yeah. Pencil, wire, and
We'll push
magnet.
it.
oh no, I was just saying that I think it's human nature, like even unintended, without the intention. Because if you're going to search the guidance for something, you think whatever question, you attach your own idea of what that question means. So you're going to find guidance that's related to your perspective. So that's why it's really important to have lots of people bringing guidance in. You know?
Yeah.
I always like remembering when a few of us had the opportunity to go to Little Helen as members of an assembly, and it was about consultation. And they gave us the example, some of the members of the community think that the Baha'i Center needs another door, and other members don't agree. And how do you resolve it? So I like that as an example. So, you know, the principle might be, I think it's a safety issue, and someone else might think it's a money issue. And so all of those things have to be brought to the table as you're consulting, and you have to look at all of those aspects without getting ridiculous about it.
So that was the first one.
Okay, step 5, to be prone to allowing one's sense of humor such free rein that the bounds of moderation are overstepped and serious matters become trivialized. To be able to draw with care and courtesy on one's sense of humor at opportune times. For example, to relieve tension when the mood has become heavy.
Laughter therapy.
Yeah.
God loves laughter, that's right. So
Alas.
I think we'll go with, moderation, the second one. Step 6, to develop the habit of talking with one or two members so frequently between meetings and at such length about every issue facing the committee that you inadvertently reach definitive conclusions, presenting the other members with positions that have already been formulated. That's tough, because when you have close friendships, it's easy to do that, and we have to be aware that other opinions might have valuable information before we decide. To insist on the establishment of rules which stipulate that no issue before the committee should be discussed among the members between meetings. That's a little harsh. Or to recognize the value of exploring things and sharing insights in continuous conversations among members of the communities between meetings about the growth of the faith in the case of an area teaching committee, for example, while respecting the decision-making process of the committee. That's the idea. I think it's so nice. Should be the first one.
I can read, that's fine. Step 7, to be habitually forgetful of the previous discussions and decisions of the consultative body, raising the same issues over and over again. To insist that in an attempt to preserve consistency in consultation, the body should never return to subjects that it has already considered. Or to build on the direction and decisions of the body's past discussions, aware that thinking gradually evolves as experience is gained and knowledge generated.
This condition was described by Anthropocos William Sears as yo-yo consultation.
Writing that difference. So you like the third one?
Yes, we like the third one.
Yeah. Finally, what might you do as an individual member of the consultative body to resist the following tendencies? Okay, to allow one's thoughts to wander so much during consultations that one acquires the habit of daydreaming during meetings.
So what would you do?
So you didn't let your thoughts wander. What do? I mean, you probably have all sat in meetings and had been in these situations. What do you do to keep your focus?
I always take notes.
I draw diagrams and pictures.
Yeah.
And that has a tendency to focus my mind, especially if the pictures or the diagrams are related to the problem.
What do other people do in meetings?
Say the remover of difficulties. Silently.
I've actually heard that chewing gum helps you concentrate. Ever tried that? But
I doodle. Sometimes I doodle.
As a facilitator, I think it's helpful to have occasional breaks.
Yeah.
And the break doesn't mean everyone has to go use the restroom. Sometimes the break is a short activity that reconnects your brain and then you can get back to the serious thing.
I think another thing is pay more attention, listen more, because that wandering, because the consultation's going on, you gotta keep listening. Listening to find where the principles lie, where all
So you
these
can
things.
analyze what
Yeah,
other people
right,
are saying.
right. Yeah.
Just don't get paralyzed by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in long meetings, and like you, I would do notes. You'd fall into breaks. You have maybe a little bit of small chit chat with, either side. You're still getting. You might be in agreement. You have different opinions. Breaks. You talk to other people. Kind of see where the weight lies. I should say.
If you take your breaks during the consultation process, that'll give you that little amount of time to reflect.
Yeah.
And the power that reflection has in any kind of discussion, extremely valuable.
Good suggestions, everybody. Mariella.
Oh, sorry. I take my break.
What we learned.
Okay. To allow oneself to be distracted during consultation. Sorry. Say by constantly attending to one's computer or mobile phone, telephone.
So what might we do as individual members to resist these tendencies?
No bring phones.
No, don't bring your phone! Turn it off.
Or you can put it on silence. It's not
Yeah.
put it on
Oh,
silent. But if there's a family emergency, you can still see that someone's calling. Yeah. Most smartphones have an ability to put it on Do Not Disturb so that you'll still get the voicemail, but it won't ring.
I would vote for silencing that because I think that the mobile technology is a tremendous tool that we can use to call up certain writings in Ocean, call up certain prayers, and look at the intent.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a valuable exploration tool to look for the guidance from the Holy Scriptures. But if you're checking your email, of course not. Maybe setting guidelines for rules before the consultation. You only use the mobile technology when it's appropriate for the consultation.
Candy Crush. Candy Crush.
It's an old game, Mario. It's time for a new game.
It's innocent. So sweet.
One day I went to a seminar that the first event was to collect all the cellulars in a box that whole people and they put outside for a morning. It was not a democratic solution. But
Was that in the United States?
it was here.
I could see maybe with school or something, but I mean, there's just too much. I mean, it's a fast world today. For somebody to say, "Hey, give me your phone," I'd say, "Excuse me."
Yeah.
You silence your phone, because I got children that are in a different state.
Yes.
They could have problems.
Yes, they did it as a joke. And people.
Oh, as a joke?
No, it was real, but they do just smiling and people took it another way, not in the.
Were these IT people?
Yeah.
You thought lawyers were that.
No, but I think this discussion about the mobile technology, it is just a tool, and we need to learn how to use it and appropriately. And as John says, it has value. It can have value in any kind of situation, but we just need to be responsible and use the technology, the tool, any tool that we have, appropriately. So
Sometimes define ground rules. It helps.
Yeah.
And tell the people this is the ground rules. If you need the phone, use it, but with moderation. Just for an
just
emergency.
step out, or
It helps.
Well, again, I think the principle behind this is that for consultation to work, it takes active involvement of people and dedicated to solutions. And if your mind is constantly doing other things, how engaged can you be in the search for solutions?
Yeah.
C. To take offense when one's suggestions are not accepted by the group, mistaking rational analysis for personal criticism.
Ooh, that ego. Detachment, prayers.
Oh, this is difficult.
That's a major difference between consultation. What passes for consultation in the rest of the world.
Abdul Baha'i tells us to look at each other with love, and when we do that and expect that that's what's coming back, it's much easier to let go of that personal feelings of being attacked. When you're in a group where everyone has that same high priority, then it's much easier to resolve problems.
I think like we were discussing, when you have consultation, having prayers, especially in the beginning, because nobody knows what one's day was like. You can have somebody had a very bad day, hectic day, they're coming, everybody just sit down, with prayer and that, they kind of get a chance to unwind, relax. I think you'll have less chance of some of this that they're talking about.
Absolutely.
Sometimes someone can present a rational analysis of someone else's comment and do it in a way that's not very nice either. So the person making the rational analysis needs to be aware of that too, which is very nice.
Yeah.
Pretty
Both
difficult in
ways.
construction, huh, John?
What's that?
Pretty difficult in construction trees.
Well, I was also thinking about the culture of conflict that was written by Baha'i. Carlsberg was mentioning about power and how power is accepted or used in organizations. And if the power is in one person and his ideas are used as a way in which to get things done, it's the power of his persuasion on his idea that adds to his esteem. So in terms of what Baha'u'llah envisions for the world society with consultation, it's no longer about the perceptions of one individual. It's the perceptions of a community. There was even a chart by Carlsberg that talked about power and how it's used and who possesses it. And it progresses. You can either have power to control, overcome, suppress, but the same power could be used to build, enhance, create, and depending on who possesses the power, it can either be used singularly with one individual or in a sense of community. If it's contained by one person and the power is applied to overcome or restrict, then it's a win-lose situation. The guy that has the power wins, everybody else loses.
Right.
If you've got multiple people having power, but it's to control or to withhold or whatever, then you have a lose-lose situation. Nobody advances beyond the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea, he goes into the third category, is that if you use the power to build, create, enhance, make better, the idea is that if you have a number of people contributing the power, then you've got a win-win situation. There is a third quadrant that he talks about, a benevolent power distributor. In other words, the person that has the power has the understanding, but he's using it in a teaching mode for the people that need teaching on how to come up to that level of responsibility. I copied a section of that book, and I put that in one of the resources on the section.
Yeah, people should check out the wonderful work that John has done and associated with this study, because there's supplemental things out there that enhance our journey together. So that would be great. Let's finish.
To avoid, in the name of maintaining unity, voicing suggestions or insights that are the variant with those of another member of the group.
So that kind of goes against what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to, with courtesy and care, truthfully voice our own understanding of the issue, right? And so in the name of maintaining unity, don't say anything. That's kind of not in line with what we're supposed to do, right? As members. I mean, we are actually, if we do that for the sake supposedly of unity, we're actually obstructing the truth. Because the truth is going to come from everybody's opinion, from everybody's perspective.
So I have be brave.
Be
as the
brave.
solution.
And the last one?
Okay. To habitually voice disagreement in consultation.
Well, yeah.
Habitually voice disagreements.
So in all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 situations, all of them are no then.
Right, it wasn't no, what we were supposed to be doing is seeing how might you resist these tendencies? How might we all resist these tendencies? What might we do instead to resist this tendency to habitually voice disagreement?
I would say E would be a chance for reflection of the consultative body. Make sure that they are doing it correctly.
Give the, if it's a person who is constantly disagreeing, maybe ask them what they agree.
Yeah.
Make it worse.
And kind of led me in thought direction from my old world of being in the corporate sphere, dealing with committees. And being a female is that there are some people of male persuasion who tend to always criticize or make comments about something a female has said. And the good old mansplaining often rears its little self in those situations. So I think that's something in here that maybe
Divorced and
needs to
guilty.
be added in a way.
Uh-huh.
But the individual needs to be aware of his or her own actions and how do I resist habitually being negative, you know, and I can only change me, but again, in a consultative body, we can work together.
Bring it out as something you've noticed.
Right.
To say, in these discussions, I always feel as if I say something, there seems to be comments more directed at my being female, and the male being the one who knows better. I don't know you can get into personality so much, but I don't think sitting there and just not commenting may not be conducive either. Because that habit, maybe that person needs to be aware of it.
Yeah, I think it's poor practice, maybe a little bit gender. It might be position, you know.
One of the issues in consultation that you bring up is that is the issue right there. That's one of the consultation has failed if the person feels like the way you just described.
And it could be something with radio too.
I mean, any situation where, because when your ideas are expressed, at that moment is not a female idea or male idea. It belongs to the group. And there's no way you could defend it because you're looking at it as a detached person. See, this is a huge discipline. It's the ultimate discipline is to let your idea out and then detach yourself from that idea and then look at it critically as you have never heard it before.
Yeah.
And this is how the ideal consultation is, to let go of your attachment to that idea. It's no longer yours.
So
If I've attacked that idea, then I'm not attacking you, I'm attacking the idea.
I think all parties in that situation, praying and meditating on humility and detachment is a good idea. And if I notice that tendency in myself, I might try to balance, bringing out things I disagree with things I agree with. So start talking more about, I agree with that idea. Sounds like a good idea.
Okay. Section 10. Do we want to do section 10 and then we'll do our consultation?
One thing I'm wondering, it's 20 after 8.
Uh-huh.
Typically, how long is consultation time taking? Is there going to be enough time?
Okay, so that means we have scheduled 2 more sessions for sure. I sent out an email to everybody and suggested 2 dates in August, but also next week to get together on Thursday to continue working, and then July 13th. So we are okay at Umberto and Marlena's for those 2 dates. So hopefully and so we'll stop here then and we'll go to consultation.
Well, maybe other people have different opinions. You know,
Well, it is.
Can we get,
It
can
is.
we get through
I have
section 10?
25 passed.
And that's what I'm looking at.
No, I'm good
How
with
long is it gonna take us to get through that section? Do we-
Okay, so
Yeah.
would it be possible for next week for people to at least read section 10 and do the number 1, which is on 24, page 24, which is kind of, the answers are right there in the quotes.
Mhm.
The answers are right there in the quotes. So if we read section 10 and do at least number 1, then we can pick up from there. How's that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Para la próxima clase es la sección 10. Y es la número 1.
Good. Okay, so it's 6:29, right? 6:29, we'll start with section 10.
Section 10, okay, good. Exercise 1,
Yes.
Next week.
Mhm,
next week.
yes. And next week here,
We will have Gisela next week.
we will have what?
A new student.
Oh, that's right. We'll have a new student who needs her translating phone out all the time. Marlena's sister is going to be visiting.
Hmm?
Okay, so
Good time.
recap from last.